What's up, guys? I'm Chris Mendoza.
And I'm Melanie Smotty.
And this is our podcast. Pretty much, this is about two people quit their day jobs and chose to pursue something more fulfilling, something that they were passionate about.
Something we're excited to wake up and do every day.
Yeah, something we love to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So I worked in a warehouse selling plumbing supply parts, and I did that for about 3 years. And now I am pursuing music production. And Melanie here.
Yeah, so I was working as a nuclear engineer and at a power plant. It was a good old time. But now I'm currently working as a personal trainer, but trying to evolve a little bit further into a health, lifestyle, and mindset coach. So really going deeper with peeps. Deeper with the peeps.
Almost like a mentor.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I want to teach people.
Oh.
So that's the current trajectory. And we can go in a little bit deeper about our backstories and where we came from and all the emotions and life things that have led up to this point.
And boy, is there a lot.
Okay, maybe I will start.
Okay, yeah.
With the backstory.
Yeah. Go ahead. So we're gonna talk about ourselves now.
Yeah, this show's all about me. Okay. Okay. So we're just gonna go deep real quick
Go
here.
deep. People like going deep.
Into just like the reality of what I perceived my childhood to lead me up to where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much like growing up, I was the middle child, and I was definitely like the mediator of all the things that happened between me and my siblings. So my brother and my sister would fight, and I would be like the person in the middle that would be like, hey guys, let's all just get along. And that ultimately led to being a little bit more of like a people pleaser. Like I didn't want to take any sides. I just wanted to do whatever's going to make the other person happy. And I think that kind of developed through my adolescence. And when it came to the years where I needed to make important decisions about my life, I think I didn't really trust my own instincts and my own, like, I didn't have firm or strong beliefs necessarily, because I was always kind of just so agreeable and kind of go with the flow, do whatever someone else wants to do. Yes, yeah. Heavily influenced. So going into college, I just decided that I initially tried. I gave myself a chance. I went into like college with biology, which was what I wanted to study. And then after like a year and a half of doing that, I pretty much was swayed by others' influence upon me to do engineering, because it's supposed to be like you get a better job, a higher paying job, a more stable job, more opportunities, etc. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. You're probably right. Like, you know, you're an adult. You know things. That's probably what I should do. So I did that, and I ended up switching into engineering, and it just really wasn't me, I guess. And actually it's funny because I feel like a lot of people actually would comment on that anytime I would meet a new person and they would find out that I was studying engineering, they'd be like, oh, you're not like a typical like engineering person. Like usually the personality types, you know, in certain like areas of study, you can kind of get the vibe of the personality of those kind of people. And I just didn't really fit into most people's idea of an engineer.
Right.
And I think that at the time I was like, yeah, you know, I'm just like a cool engineer.
Yeah, when you say nuclear engineer, I automatically go to some like old nerdy guy in a lab coat and glasses.
Yeah, there was definitely some of that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I think that was definitely like an area where I was just kind of like, yeah, well, you know, like, I mean, I knew that I was smart, but at the same time, I didn't feel like I didn't get turned on by problem solving and mathematics and all this stuff. Like, it was just kind of something that I did, and I was happened to be good at it. And it was weird because I always almost took pride in the fact that like I could force myself to do things that I don't want to do, and I can do them well. And like looking back, I'm like, that's not really a very good trait. Like to just do things well that you just hate. But also, some people would look at it and be like,
well,
wow.
yeah, because there is that thing, you know, like no matter what you do, do it well kind of mentality. So that's pretty good. That's a good thing.
Well, it got me through college, and I made good grades, and I graduated. So, but pretty much like at that point, it led me into. I was fortunate to get a career in the field that I studied, which you know, I was grateful for all of that, and the people I worked with were great, and honestly, like I had zero reason to really complain about my job because it was a pretty good situation. So I always felt like, you know, maybe there was something wrong with me because my situation from the outside in looked great. Like maybe there's just something wrong with me, and why aren't I happy with what I have and this whole thing? So like it took, at that point I started getting more into just like trying to improve myself. I thought maybe I need to like work on my mindset. I need to work on just everything about me, and that was definitely like a good place for me to turn. However, like through that process, I kind of learned that actually it's kind of the opposite. Like I don't really need to change myself. Obviously, I can always be getting better, but it's more of like I need to actually listen to myself more, and actually act in alignment with what I feel is like right for me versus like trying to force myself into this mold of a person that I felt like I was supposed to be like.
Right.
And so that's where I like really started being like, okay, well, what do I love? What am I super passionate about? And then at the time, you know, I was really into fitness and health and nutrition and stuff. And so I just naturally grew into that and started getting more interested in how I could do that full time. And then after many years, I finally decided to quit my job. And then now I'm doing the thing that I was always wishing I could do. And that's where I'm.
Was that like one of the scariest moments of your life when you quit your job?
Yeah, the day that I put in my notice, it was like excited, terrified. I was like fearful that I might make the wrong decision. Mm-hmm. I was afraid of what my boss would say, what my coworkers were gonna say, and like there was no turning back. It was like such a final thing. I'm like, after I do this, like I can't take it. I mean, maybe I could have, but in my head, I'm like, I can't take this back.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much went all in, and I just decided like it was almost like an effort mentality because I had ran myself around in this circle so many times. Like I had thought this whole thing through over and over and over again that it almost felt like just automatic. Like as soon as I just let the gate open, it just all just happened. Yeah. And it wasn't, and I think to some people it appeared to be very like sudden and out of the blue, but in reality it's like, no, I've literally thought this through a million times.
Yeah.
And
every day you showed up to work, you were playing this out in your head.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally I just actually let it happen. And then, and I did go through a phase after I quit, maybe like a month or two after, where I was like, man, maybe I made like the wrong decision. I was like, maybe I should have just stayed. And it was because I was struggling a little bit because, I mean, I hadn't really, I didn't have a good client base yet or anything like that. So, but I just decided I was going to bank off my savings and just jump right into it. So like at that point, the financial aspect and the uncertainty of like when I was going to be making money or how much, that kind of like scared me a lot. But that was something that I knew was going to be an issue because, like, obviously there wasn't the stability of, like, a salary coming in every 2 weeks. And I knew that was going to be an aspect that I'd have to adjust to. But, yeah, so there was, like, a freak out moment after I quit. But, I mean, obviously, like, I knew that I didn't really regret it. I was just being back in my fear and my doubt and just
I remember that phone call.
Oh,
Wow. She was crying.
Story of my life. When am I not crying? But yes, that's my story.
Nice.
Nice.
It's my turn?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, so I've actually been into music for a while. I started playing guitar. I taught myself how to play guitar in 6th grade. What?
I'm just looking at you. You're so cute.
Okay. Anyway, I taught myself how to play guitar in 6th grade, and I kind of just like hit a point where I wasn't progressing anymore, so I just kind of just stopped. And I was going through high school, dealing with puberty and hormones and emotions and boners all the time. And then I had been skateboarding like since I was like 9, so I guess I was still doing that. I was like part of the skater scene, I had the long hair and the fat shoes and
PH.
yeah. Then high school, I realized that I was like, I had some issues like inside, like repressed emotions and stuff. Like I didn't realize that I had like a rough childhood until I was in high school. Like growing up, when that happens, like you just think it's normal. You know what I mean? You don't even like think to compare your life to other people's. So like in high school, I realized like, oh, like I've got like a pretty, I don't know, I got some problems. Yeah, I had some like household problems. And so like I realized I was just like an angry kid. I like forgot all about music, and I quit football, I quit skateboarding, and kind of just didn't know what to do or like who I was or anything. And then I started smoking weed, and then I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So I started doing that a lot. And then I started drinking. No, actually, I started drinking first. I started drinking when I was like 17, the beginning, 17 years old, sophomore year, end of sophomore year. And then I just began experimenting with drugs, and like I became really fond of them, and I started doing them every day because it could like make me not feel what I was feeling all the time. Like I didn't even realize I was depressed and anxious as a kid until like after I had taken these drugs, specifically pills, Xanax, and I was like, like all that stuff went away, kind of, and then I got into drugs, and then I moved away to Colorado to kind of like just get away from everything. I sold drugs and used drugs for like 6 years after high school. Like that was my life. That's all I did. And so like finally, I moved to Colorado to try and like get sober, I guess. But really, I was just like running away from my problems. And so it wasn't long before like a relapse in Colorado. I started doing pills again and just drinking all the time, and like 2 years went by, and I was like in the exact same place mentally that I was when I was here in Austin, and I just like made a choice to like change my life like right then and there. So I decided to like set this goal for myself, like this crazy goal. I actually like listened to this Joe Rogan video that like be the hero of your own story. Like if your life was a movie and you were the hero, like what would you do? And like I remember being at work and I was like, dude, this can't be my life, dude. I was like at the end of a shitty shift in the kitchen, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I was like withdrawing too from like opiates or something, and I was like, dude, this can't be my life, you know. So I like had that moment. I was like, okay, what would I do if this was my story? Da 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 da. And I pretty much just set this goal to where I was gonna go and pursue like mixed martial arts, like try to be a professional MMA fighter. Um, you know, I'd gotten into that a little bit in high school and before the drugs, and so I remember liking that a lot, and I was like, I could do that. So I moved back to Austin. I started training like a crazy person, like every day at 10th Planet Jiu Jitsu. I did some like Muay Thai and that was what I was trying to do. I was trying to be a professional fighter slash grappler. Yeah, I mean, I was
eating egg yolks out of a jar.
I did that in Colorado actually. I ate the raw eggs when I didn't have protein. Yeah, so I did that for like 2 years, and then I got injured. I blew out my knee while I was walking my dog, and
major.
And it forced me to like reevaluate my life and my goals and what I wanted to do. And so like I got really into spirituality and like got in touch with myself and like realized that I didn't want to be a fighter anymore. And so like while I was healing, I started playing a lot of music and then started messing with GarageBand on my phone, and like I was like, oh, this is like dope. I could do this, you know. I started looking into music production schools. I saw this like online university for music production, and I enrolled in that. And then like before I knew it, I was just all about music again. I didn't even. I don't know.
It just sort of happened.
I still like really love martial arts and training and stuff, but like right now, all of my focus and attention is in music. So yeah, I'm about 6 months, 7 months into this online school. It's pretty cool, except for all the debt that I'm in. A lot of debt.
Woo, America!
But yeah, now you know, I'm kind of venturing off and discovering like what specifically I want to do with music production, and you know, I'm starting my own like business, I guess, like marketing myself. Gonna get into some like product marketing and business stuff that we'll talk about later. It's in the works. But yeah, that's
yeah. I mean that kind of leads into what the point of what this podcast is, that we kind of wanted to talk about. So we're both in like the early stages of our pursuit of our dream business, dream job, dream life, whatever. This is Major. Hello. He looks really weird.
Oh, yeah.
You're not very photogenic.
We call him the demon because he's a demon.
Yes, he's a bad boy. Yeah, so we wanted to just talk about what all comes with, you know, trying to pursue something that's, number one, very unstable, very uncertain, very like much of a learning curve, because obviously neither one of us has had our own business before, so we have like a lot to learn. And not only just like business development and marketing development, like as far as, you know, learning more about those topics, but more so even personal development too, because like when you have your own business, you know, you and your business are very intertwined. And so I think a lot of times we hold ourselves back from being able to reach new limits. And at those, that's where like the deep inner work comes in to allow ourselves to grow to the next level and stuff.
So yeah, we want to share with you like the process of it and how we deal with the stresses and the ups and the downs, and you know, we'll get into the business side of things, and you know, like I'm all of a sudden now I'm like learning about brand marketing and entrepreneurialism and like all this stuff that I never thought a music producer would have to do, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll give some, like, I don't know about hope, but at least like show that even we were in a position where we thought that this was really all that life was meant to be about. Like, I thought that, maybe this is just how life's supposed to be. Nobody's supposed to like their job, and you're just supposed to save for retirement, and you can live your life happily after you retire. But right now, it's like work, work, work.
Yeah.
So like even people who came from that belief, can come out the other side with some type of hope. So like if you're someone who's in that spot now, then you can probably relate to that feeling a lot, and then take some peace of mind knowing that you have the power to like change your life if you choose to.
Right.
And that was something that I always heard other people say to me. Like I would listen to a lot of like business podcasts and follow a bunch of business people on Instagram, and they would always preach this stuff about like choosing to live your own life and pursuing what you love. And at the time it was just like, yeah, I get it, but like it's not that easy. Like it's not so.
I got bills to pay.
Yeah, so that's true. It is true, but also there becomes like some type of evolution to where you get to the point where you actually fully understand that is
right.
true.
Yeah, and like also there's no getting around, like it's gonna be fucking scary.
Yeah, exactly.
Like she did it the best way I would say to do it is like save up a bunch of money, have a bunch of savings to live off of at least for a little bit. And even that, like, that's really scary, right? Like,
yeah.
But also like, I'm doing it where I didn't have any savings. So like, some could say it's fucking foolish, quitting your job without like any savings. But I had a plan, I still had ways of like making income and paying rent. Like I didn't just quit and like not have any cash flow coming in. Yeah. And so like, yeah, we can talk all about that, like how it's scary, but like it's doable, like that I have bills to pay, like that shouldn't hold you back. Because like for me, for the longest, I thought about quitting my job and like doing something else. After the first year I was there, the other 2 years I was there, I was just like, whatever. I don't know. I was just.
Oh!
You just farted.
Oh, you farted boy.
Yeah,
you were just passively going through life after that.
Yeah, I didn't have a dream. I was just like, I guess I was doing martial arts, but even then, I didn't have a plan or any real big goal in mind. It was just like, train, get better every day. And like, I didn't even have an end game. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do with that.
Yeah. And I do also want to say, because I feel like when I think about my sister, for example, like she is very like successful in her career, and she works for a company and she enjoys it, and she's very invested in her job and the work that she does. And so I realize, not everybody's interested in quitting their job and pursuing something, because some people just prefer to have it as like a hobby or like a side gig or something.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't want it to come off that we're, wanting to like, or believe that everybody should quit their job and, do what we do. But it's just like, I think that for the person that really feels called and drawn to something different, and it's really just the fear of the unknown that's holding them back, like, I think this will be just helpful to hear.
Also, we could just be two fucking idiots and we can crash and burn, and you guys are going to witness it all and just laugh.
Exactly.
But we came into this like knowing that was a possibility, and like choosing to do it anyway, despite that being a possibility. Like,
yeah, and this is something I learned more about when I met Chris, where he would always just be like, life is just like a game. you know, like you just have to like you're just playing a game, and I'm like, to me, I'm a little bit more intense of a thinker sometimes. I'm like, no, it's not a game, like,
Yeah.
but I slowly came to like the idea of just play and allowing it to all just be like fun and not
Right.
taking things so seriously. And that really allowed me to step into like believing in myself more and taking more risks, because whenever I really thought about the bigger picture, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like, you're right. Like, I'm over here being so microscopic about, you know, all these tiny things where
Right.
in the big picture, it's like, none of that's going to freaking matter.
Right. And like, you know, that's what all those years of spirituality did for me, is like get that sort of mindset to where like don't get this twisted. Like, we don't have the idea that this is going to make us happy, whatever we're trying to accomplish. Like, what those like years of studying, that I mean, I'm still practicing it every day, but you know, one thing it taught me is how to be happy where you are with what you have. And like, and if you can do that, which that's a really hard thing to do for people, like some people can, you know, spend a lifetime trying to do that and it can never happen. But in doing that, like, everything else just becomes extra, you know? And like, that's why I would always say, like, this is just think of it like a game, and like everything is just play, because the truth of it all is like that this right now, here and now, is like all that we have. It's all there is. There's no past, no future. And so like, if you can just be happy in the now, like every time, which is so much easier said than done.
Yeah.
But if you can do that, like there's this weight lifted off you, because you realize like your happiness and well-being doesn't depend on achieving this thing that you set out to do.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't mean that you don't go all in, and you don't pretend. Like, you go all in, you know, you like chase after this thing, pretending like it does matter, you know, even though you know like it really doesn't, and that if this is all there is and ever was, like, it's enough. This is going to be enough. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Too cheesy?
No. It's good. I
mean it. I mean that.
No, I know. I think that we could probably go really far down this hole.
Yeah, I know. We should probably cut it short. Cut it off.
I mean, yeah, like, I think that's just, you know, a bit more. I think that we connected a lot on the spirituality level, and I think that ultimately helps us kind of, yeah, I don't know, yeah, it helps. It helps get us through this journey, so
Right.
we're probably going to talk a lot about it.
Yeah.
Because it's very relevant, and
it works, it works.
Yeah.
If you just do it.
For sure.
Anyway,
so that's
all
the
right.
first episode.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this shit up.
It's late at night, aka 9:45.
It's not that late.
I'm like super tired.
But it's really hot in here, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, hope you guys found that entertaining at least.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, we didn't really plan any of this out, so it's just gonna be kind of, we wanted it to be very natural and like flowy and off the cuff, and just kind of talking about whatever comes to mind. So not really much structure, just kind of, you know, maybe kind of getting a higher level relevant topic, and then just seeing what comes up.
We'll have some like cool stuff and Q&A and little segments along the way, but you know, we're open for feedback and criticism. Just don't be a dick.
Or do. Get blocked. I'm just kidding.